Okay, welcome to the IELTS exam. I'll be your examiner for today. My name is Michael. Could you tell me your name, please?
Hi, Michael. Yes, my name is Leah,
Okay, good.
and I'm from the Philippines. Yeah.
Excellent. I just want to ask you a few questions. Um, let's talk about where you grew up. Could you describe the town or the city that you grew up in?
Okay, I grew up in a small village in the northern part of the Philippines. It is the name of the village is San Agustin, Santo Tomas, Batangas, or San Agustin. Okay, and when I was small, I used to be with my aunts from my father's side and my my grandma or yeah grandmother. So well, we were living in a very native looking house before. It's like the old houses were in the windows with square whites like that, and wooden houses. And the although it was the house was beside the highway or the national highway, pretty much everybody knows everyone. It's like everyone is like related to one another, and then like there were a lot of trees, a lot of flowers, a lot of vegetables in the front yard, in the backyard. And then we used to me and my friends would play in the backyard. And also I used to and when I was small, I was living with my sisters. Nowadays, not anymore. Of course, we're already like grown ups, so we don't live together anymore.
So,
Yeah.
do you still live in this town now, or have you moved away from this town?
Uh, no, not anymore. So I'm already in a totally different environment and totally different place.
Mhm. Okay. How about your family? Does your family still live there? You mentioned your grandmother. Does she still live there?
Oh no, my grandma already passed away when I think when I was 12. Yeah. And the only people that I know are living in there, of course, are my relatives, my cousins, but I don't really see them anymore. It's been like it's been like years, decades actually, since I haven't seen my relatives, my other cousins from my father's side.
Okay. Do you think that place has changed much since you were young?
I don't think so because uh well I visited like when was the last time I visited last 2018 because that's where my father is laid. And I don't think that there's been a lot of changes. Still, there's no telephone connection in there. Uh, but there is funny because there is like internet connection there, but they don't have telephone lines. Or I haven't seen, I haven't gone through to the what do you call this, the other houses. So I only just stayed for like a couple of hours in my aunt's house. So I really don't know if I really don't know about other places. I didn't really visit a lot of areas in there except for the places where I grew up with. So yeah.
On this part, you'll be given a card, a cue card, and on the cue card, you will be asked to speak about a particular topic um, and what you should speak about relating to this topic. You will talk for about 1 to 2 minutes
Hmm.
regarding this topic. You have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and if you have a pen and paper and you'd like to write down some of your thoughts, you can also do that. Okay,
Okay.
so here is the cue card. All right, you now have 1 minute to prepare your response to the cue card.
Okay.
Okay, Leah, so that's your 1 minute. Could you now respond to the question on the cue card, please?
Okay, sure. So a sports event, I'm not really a sports person, but yes, indeed I watched some sports event, and one sport in particular which I enjoyed watching was volleyball. So when I was in grade 6, like in my primary years, I used to watch my schoolmate who was playing. I enjoyed watching it because he was my crush at that time. And then I used to watch with my friends, and I remember giggling because whenever my the person I am into gets to have a score, I would really shout his name. So I that was this when I was in that's when I was in primary years. In yeah, and that's when I was in the still in the northern part of the Philippines. My hometown a long time back. It's where I grew up, and yeah, I pretty much enjoyed watching volleyball up until now. If I watch volleyball on TV, I would still remember those days that I get to watch it real in real life, like in a live action situation. And yep, pretty much it. Nothing really interesting with me watching any sports event. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for that, Leah. So this event that you watched in school, could you tell me who won this event?
Well, that group where my crush with was a very strong group, or a very strong batch. So they won. Of course, I'm always with the winning team. So I was happy. I was glad, and yeah, that also energized me, or inspired me to like achieve my own goal, even if I'm not a sports person. I used to be in the journalism club at that time, so that inspired me looking at my inspiration.
Thank you very much, Leah. So that's the end of part two of the test. We're now
Okay.
going to move on to part three. All right, so we're going to move on to part three, Leah. Just some follow-up questions related to the topic we just discussed in sports. Um, let's consider first of all watching sports. How
Hmm.
expensive is it to go to sports events in your country, in the Philippines?
Well, it depends if it's a national contest or it's just within the area. Well, if I will go to a sports event here in our barangay or in our community, it's just gonna be free. But if I would go to like celebrity events, like celebrity centered sports events, like in the stadiums like that, or yeah, in national contest, well, there's an entrance fee of around like 100 pesos, or 100 to 300. So that's more like $6. Yes. So it's not really that expensive, but it depends if it's a what do you call this, a sponsored run. Like for example, they will be sponsoring some foundations, or being done for charities. So it depends like that.
Do you think it's different watching sports on TV and going to watch it in person? And in what ways?
Yes. First and foremost, it's whenever you watch a sports event on TV. Of course there's a timing for that. I mean, in real event, of course there's also a timing, but on TV you can just stay at home. It's inexpensive. You just turn on the TV. If it's like Manny Pacquiao's boxing event, then some cases you have to go pay per view and pay for it if you want to go first hand or watch the event firsthand. Otherwise, like, it's gonna be free anyway if it's on TV. But if it is a national event, a celebrity centered sports event, then I have to go there, fix myself up, and then meet people. I mean, that's another expense. Okay. And then, but I believe, yes, there's a difference between like watching it live, because you can really see, especially if it's your idol, you'll be able to see him in the flesh. And that's really the more inspiring. It's it gets more, I mean, it's real than compared to you watching it on TV, because it's more like fantasy, or it's not really that happening. But if it's live, then it gets surreal. But it's true, or you can see it with your own eyes. It's happening in front of you. So yeah, it's totally different. The experience is different.
And finally, let's just talk about famous sports people. Why do you think sports people often become media stars today?
Mainly because of the influence that they bring to people, the inspiration that they bring to people. Of course, since it's this social media era wherein almost everything can be searched, almost everything can be accessible. They get famous because, first and foremost, if they're going to be representing like products like that, people would be looking up to them, and it's easier to, for example, in a marketing, as a marketing strategy, they would definitely hire like famous people so that their brand will be known. Because some, for example, yeah, Manny Pacquiao, Filipino. He's known for being a very good boxer. I mean, a lot of Filipinos would look up to him. A lot of Filipinos are being inspired by Manny. So whatever he uses, I mean, some people from the business world would actually hire him to promote their product, or let him promote their product, because a lot of people will like tend to mimic him or copy him, because a lot of people are like looking up to him. So basically like that. And that's just how I see it in business, and in like as my point of view, how these people gets very more, I mean, more famous after them working hard for their goal in winning such event in sports, or achieving top, like top, what do you call this, I mean, achieve being successful in sports. So they basically worked hard for it. And it shows whatever what kind of people they are. They really work hard. They train every day. So they have this goal in their head, and they try to get it no matter what, no matter how difficult the instances is. So people will just look up to them. Or especially if I see someone like that, it would inspire me. So it's not really difficult to understand how a famous sports person gets more famous um, during, especially now.
Sure,
I
good.
mean, this era.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Leah. So, well done. That's the end of the part three and the end of the speaking section of the exam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.